let's jump right in. Picture this. It's San Francisco, 1920. The Jazz Age is just kicking off. But inside a quiet home on Chattanooga Street, an official government document is about to create a little mystery. And in solving it, well, we uncover a huge story about work, about value, and about what it really means to build a life. So check this out. This is what the United States Census recorded for a 35-year-old woman named Amelia Leland. 2 simple words. Occupation, none. Just like that, on paper, her life's work was officially invisible. So the real question is, what was the reality hiding behind that one little word, none? Today, we're going to peel back the layers of history to figure out what Amelia Leland's real occupation was. And I think the answer is going to surprise you. Okay, so first things first, to even begin to understand this, we have to get a handle on the sheer physical reality of her life. The census might have seen nothing, but her body, it would have told a completely different story. 7. Yeah, 7. Just let that number sink in for a moment. That's how many people Amelia was responsible for day in and day out. Herself, her husband, and their 5 children. She wasn't just a mother, she was basically the manager of a 7-person organization. I mean, just look at this timeline of her workday. It kicks off at 5:30 in the morning and doesn't stop until after 9 at night. That's a 15-and-a-half-hour day every single day. No weekends off, no sick days, no paid vacation. This was the relentless, grinding rhythm of her life.
And here's where it gets really incredible. The slide just makes the labor so tangible. Let's just take one thing, laundry. For us, right, it's pushing a button. For Amelia, it was an all-day physical battle. We're talking boiling water, scrubbing clothes for 7 people on a washboard, wringing them out by hand, and then ironing everything with these heavy cast iron wedges she had to keep heating on the stove. It wasn't just a chore, it was a marathon.
And remember, that was just one task. She was also cooking 3 meals a day, completely from scratch, on a gas stove, using an ice box that had to be constantly restocked with a block of ice. She cleaned without a vacuum cleaner, which meant sweeping floors and literally beating the dust out of rugs by hand. Oh, and she spent hours canning and preserving food, just to make sure her family had enough to eat all year long. But here's the thing, that insane physical work, that was only half the story. Amelia was also the chief operating officer of her household, and that required complex mental and emotional work that was just as demanding, maybe even more so. You know, think about it this way. If we were writing Amelia's resume today, it would look something like this. She was the accountant, stretching one single salary to feed and clothe 7 people. She was the on-call nurse for every fever and scraped knee. She was a counselor, a project manager, and a diplomat, navigating the incredibly complex dynamics of a full house. What Amelia was doing is something we actually have a name for now. We call it invisible labor. It's that constant mental spreadsheet, planning meals, tracking the budget, remembering every birthday, soothing fears, mediating arguments. It's all the work that turns a house into a home, and it's exactly the kind of work a census taker just couldn't see. And, as if all of that wasn't enough, Amelia's job had this whole other layer of complexity. She was a mother, standing at a major crossroads in history, trying to navigate a world that was changing faster than ever before. Just try to picture this for a second. Amelia grew up in rural Idaho, basically at the very end of the frontier era. Her kids, they were growing up in cosmopolitan San Francisco during the Roaring 20s. She had to somehow bridge that massive gap every single day, raising these modern urban kids with the values she learned in a totally different world. You can really see this challenge when you look at her teenage daughters, Juanita and Evelyn. She had to teach them traditional skills like sewing and cooking, but at the same time, prepare them for a new world with new opportunities for women, things like education and careers. And clearly, her guidance worked. Juanita actually went on to become a bank clerk, which is a real testament to the forward-thinking support she got at home. But she couldn't just focus on the teenagers. She was simultaneously guiding her 11-year-old son toward responsibility, helping her 8-year-old with homework, and providing constant, round-the-clock supervision and early education for her 5-year-old daughter. It required this constant, exhausting mental shift between all these totally different needs. All right, so let's pull all these threads together. What happens when we look at that census record again, now that we know everything we know? What was Amelia's true occupation? The official record, right there in black and white, it saw a blank space.
It saw a woman who didn't earn a wage, who didn't have a formal title, and so, in its eyes, had no occupation. But when we look closer, we see the real story. We don't see a blank space at all. We see the architect of a family's entire future. We see a legacy being built, brick by brick.
Because the foundation that Amelia built was rock solid. That family, they weathered the Great Depression. Her daughters grew up to be independent women. Her sons went on to lead successful lives. And Amelia herself lived to be 90 years old, the respected matriarch of this incredible family that she had built from the ground up.
I think the source material for this whole explainer just nails it. The woman with no occupation was, in reality, the very foundation of everything her family would become. She wasn't just living in the house, she was its architect.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it? Amelia's story is 100 years old, but this whole issue of invisible labor, it's definitely not. So it makes you wonder, who are the unseen architects in our own lives and in our society today? Whose foundational work are we still overlooking?